Khan's own military colleagues rebelled against him and banished him to the United Nations. Though a stable government remained elusive, the campaign of bombing North Vietnam began. It was called Rolling Thunder.
We thought that at a certain point, and in conjunction with a situation within the South that was turned around, it would be a decisive thing in getting Hanoi to say, all right, we can't get there now, we will fall back, not abandon the objective of taking over the South, but drop it for now. We never had the view that bombing would bring about quick results, certainly not on the essentially measured scale that was actually carried out. We thought it would cut down the amount of the infiltration, that by hitting the supply lines you'd make it much more difficult.
I had been a director of the United States Strategic Bombing Survey toward the end of the Second World War, and we'd made a detailed study of the effects of strategic bombing on not only the German war economy, but on the psychology of the German people. I was convinced that we were not going to achieve our will by bombing the North, that in the first place it was a fairly primitive industrial society, and that there weren't the kind of targets that were adapted for strategic bombing. And secondly, I was convinced that we would never break the will of a determined people simply by bombing. And in fact, we would probably tend to unite them more than ever.
The Tan Hoa Bridge, 80 miles from Hanoi, was an important target in the spring of 1965. It was bombed and repaired year after year.
When the bombing program started, I realized that the airfields, and we had 3 jet-capable airfields, were extremely vulnerable. If that strategy was to be a viable one, we had to protect those airfields. I feared that the Vietnamese did not have the capability of protecting the American aircraft on those airfields, and therefore my first requests for troops were associated with protecting the airfields.
The President granted Westmoreland's request with little debate. On March 8, 1965, 3,500 U.S. Marines landed to protect the airbase at Da Nang. The decision to deploy these first Marines was not part of a plan for a massive troop buildup, but 200,000 troops would be committed by the end of the year.